Hail, Chris Youngblood, and you're watching a Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR.
Greetings from Daytona, where a band of dreamers took a strip of beach and turned it into a proving ground. The Great American Race, where year after year, greatness is the destination. So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. Once you arrive, you'll never look back. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from our podcast studio inside the Advantage Center at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, where we've been busy in this studio collecting interviews for not only today's Crimson Drive, but what you'll see here in the next few weeks on this weekly show. Again, Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We'll start our show by taking a look at what's coming up on the program, plus our headlines for today, thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's first of all see what's coming up on the show this afternoon. We'll be talking some basketball. Basketball is all the buzz here in Tuscaloosa, and we'll start with Chris Youngblood talking about the men's basketball team, what's coming up for the Crimson Tide on Saturday against Auburn. Then we'll be joined by Alabama sharpshooter Aaliyah from the women's basketball team, talk about some of her great performances as she continues a dominant senior campaign for the Crimson Tide. Then we'll close out the show by hearing from the head coach of the Crimson Tide baseball team, Rob Vaughn, with a look back to Monday's edition of Hey Coach, our Hey Coach replay, hearing thoughts from the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Rob Vaughn, as baseball season starts tomorrow. Looking at our headlines, men's basketball on Tuesday night, a fun time down in Austin, Texas, scoring over 103 points, career high for Jaron Stevenson. Alabama gets the win 103-80. Crimson Tide currently ranked number 1 in the nation in the coaches poll. Now, in the AP poll, the Auburn Tigers are ranked number 1, Alabama's 2. So no matter which way you look at it this weekend, you can either say it's number 1 versus number 1, 1 versus 2, depending on the polls. We know it is the rivalry. Alabama against Auburn. 3 p.m. will be our start time at Coleman Coliseum. On the radio, we'll get our coverage started at 2 o'clock for what's one of the most anticipated games in Crimson Tide regular season history. So much buzz around this game, including for ESPN College Game Day. We got to see them last year for the Tennessee game. Now they're back in town for this matchup with Auburn. The show will start at 9 o'clock, but a couple of notes for fans in Tuscaloosa wanting to go to College Game Day. Doors will open for students starting at 7 o'clock for College Game Day. For regular fans, 8 p.m. you can come in as well. Just a tremendous atmosphere, great show on ESPN, and we look forward to hosting them for what will be an exciting matchup, Alabama against Auburn, coming up on Saturday. For the women's basketball team, they keep winning 3 straight victories, including on Super Bowl Sunday. 80-60 was the final score in Starkville as Alabama defeated Mississippi State. So now the Crimson Tide, through 25 games, 20 wins, 5 losses. This is the fastest that Alabama has ever been to 20 wins in program history. Great accomplishment for Coach Curry. Crimson Tide remain ranked in the top 25, checking in at number 21 in the AP poll for this week. Another honor for Sarah Ashley Barker. She has been named to the Naismith Award Player of the Year mid-season team for the great work she has done leading Alabama in scoring and defensively throughout the year. Now coming up on Monday, yes, no game coming up tonight, no game on Sunday. You typically see women's games on Thursdays and Sundays throughout SEC play. For the Crimson Tide, they will get the spotlight coming up on Monday night with a 7 p.m. start time against Texas A&M. Our radio coverage at Coleman Coliseum will begin at 6:45 all across the network. Don't you like the title of this slide? Alabama on the diamond. We're getting into softball and baseball season. Softball, of course, last week started its play in Tucson, Arizona, going 4-1 at the Candrea Classic. Great start for Patrick Murphy and Team 29. They'll try and keep it going coming up this weekend in Clearwater. Always one of the best tournaments in softball play. The Clearwater Invitational coming up this weekend. We'll have you fully covered for those broadcasts on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. And for the baseball team, it's time for opening day. On Valentine's Day coming up tomorrow, Alabama against the Braves. The Bradley Braves coming up at the Joe. Friday at 4 o'clock, Sunday and Saturday, weather permitting at 1 o'clock. There could be some changes due to some inclement weather that's in the forecast on both Saturday and Sunday, but we'll keep you covered here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network for any changes that are coming up as we look forward to being back at Sewell Thomas Stadium and starting the season with Alabama baseball. Final notes around Alabama athletics. It's been a busy week for Kalen DeBoer and the football staff, with Ryan Grubb being named the offensive coordinator. He was the OC for Coach DeBoer at Washington, was briefly on staff here at Alabama last year before he spent last season staying in Seattle with the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL, but now he has come over as the offensive coordinator and the play caller for the Crimson Tide football team. Speaking of football, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl, and with that, 7 former Crimson Tide players, part of that championship team in Philadelphia, headlined by the Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts. Congratulations to him, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, some of our favorites from recent years. Just tremendous to see that this past Sunday in New Orleans with the Super Bowl win for the Eagles over the Chiefs. Then for gymnastics coming up, they will be heading to St. Louis for the Zoo to the Lou quad meets. Alabama will perform against Missouri, Illinois, and Iowa in a very anticipated quad meet coming up. We'll be talking more gymnastics coming up next week on this show with a one-on-one conversation with Rachel Rybicki. But here on the show this week, we will start talking basketball from the studio here at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Chris Youngblood, fresh off getting back home from a long road trip from Fayetteville to Austin, wins against the Razorbacks and the Longhorns. He joined us in studio to talk about his journey from Tuscaloosa originally, but how he made his way back to this campus after time at Kennesaw State and USF, and everything that's ahead for Alabama basketball this season. Here's our conversation with Chris Youngblood. Welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover now please be joined here at Saban Field at the Advantage Center in our podcast studio by Chris Youngblood of Alabama men's basketball, fresh off a victory against the Texas Longhorns and I guess a pretty good road trip to Arkansas and Texas. Chris, how's everything going for you and the Crimson Tide?
It's always good when winning on the road, man. Road trips are wonderful.
Did you like kind of staying out between Fayetteville, then going to Austin, having an extended trip a little bit?
Only because my birthday was Sunday, so our off day, we just celebrated my birthday, had fun, and just, cherish the moment.
Super Bowl Sunday, your birthday, so I imagine you ate pretty well, had a pretty good day.
Oh, yeah, it was a great day, man. Phenomenal day. And the Eagles fan, but, support Alabama football players, so Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith. Yeah, it's big time.
How much fun have you had this season getting to wear that crimson jersey?
Oh, man, I can't even put into words, man. That's probably the most important thing I think about. Just have fun. I don't really think about all that what's going on outside, the expectations that other people set for your own team. Nah, just have fun with your brothers, man.
That's really been good. And, of course, it's a very full circle moment for you because you grew up here, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's funny because when I committed here, everybody thought this was all part of the plan. I said, this is not. I was set on about 3 or 4 other schools, but, Alabama came in and they were just the perfect fit.
Yeah, and tell us about growing up in Tuscaloosa. How big of an Alabama fan were you?
All growing up, I was big time Alabama football, basketball. Me and my dad always went to games. But people don't understand that one year Cam Newton was at Auburn. I might have been an Auburn fan. I might have painted my room orange and blue. I hypothetically speaking, let's say I did, but but yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun.
That's good. When did you get back towards Crimson a little bit after that?
As soon as he left.
Got through that 1 year, right?
Yeah.
That's good. And then for you playing high school basketball, what was Alabama on your radar? Was that the dream school at that time, or what doors were opening for you when you were playing in high school?
Actually, I was although I went to Kennesaw State out of high school, I was pretty highly recruited. It's just my coach Amir, he was phenomenal. He was second to none. He's one of a kind. So, kind of I would follow him and let him lead me, coach me. But Alabama wasn't really on the radar at the time. I will say that.
So you get to Kennesaw State, start having success there with Coach Amir. Just how meaningful was it to start your college journey there and then transition as well to South Florida?
Oh, it was perfect. It was like it was all meant to be. It was crazy. Kennesaw State taught me a lot because I was already a humble guy, but mid-major at the ASUN back then, you had to really love the game, and I feel like I wouldn't want it any other way that I started at Kennesaw State because it taught me so much about life, not even basketball, just life.
Did you like competing on the road, especially in some mid-major gyms, because they're really right on top of you so many places you went?
Yeah, man, you love road games. I feel like the world is against you. That's why especially this team. This team is very competitive. This is one of the most competitive teams I've ever been around. So yeah, being on the road, man, it's phenomenal.
That's really good. So success there with the Owls. Follow your coach to USF as well. What was it like stepping up a little bit of a level and obviously led to good results, you being the AAC Player of the Year?
Yeah, it was I was ready for the challenge. Coming into the year, like with non-conference, I didn't really play too well because I was just trying to prove myself I can play on this level, blah blah. But once I just had fun with it, let go of the game, that's when probably like towards the end of the non-conference, my production started going up, everything started taking care of each other. So it was nice. It was fun.
Do you have a couple games that really sticked out to you from your USF career you're most proud of?
Um, I would say probably the last game. Last game of the season, VCU. I think I might have had 30, something like that. It was either 29 or 30. I don't really know, but just cherishing the moments. Last game of the season. Oh, it was never mind. It was at Charlotte. We won in the regular season championship. That was most fun because winning at somebody else's gym, the regular season gym, we didn't cut their nets down, but yeah, that would have been disrespectful. But no, that was probably the favorite moment.
Pretty good celebration after that on the way home.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
So that's good. So you're part of a winning program, good culture there at USF. When you started thinking about this next year of eligibility, what was important to you once you went in the transfer portal?
Obviously, you gotta have a pretty strong foundation on winning. Like I didn't want to go just revert back, but taking steps back. So focus on winning, and then the player development was probably the most key for me. I knew like there's a lot of good programs around here. Humbly speaking, I know what I bring to the table. So like the winning, I know I was going to take care of that. I know I was going to be an addition to the team versus just not help them win. So yeah,
How soon did Alabama reach out to you?
probably the first few days because after as soon as I got in the portal, I think they had just lost maybe or they were still determined maybe. So I know they had to get back from I think they were Phoenix. So, yeah, I know that they had just got done, so I gave some time. I wasn't really tripping because at first I was like, man, it's been like 4 or 5 days. Now they want to reach out. I'm like, I'm good. I'm I'm good. But it's because there's already so many schools. But my dad told me, like, hey, man, son, they just got done playing the NCAA tournament. Like, give them some time.
Yeah, that's a winning program. That's a winning culture.
Yeah.
Of course, you're very familiar with Tuscaloosa, but what was it like to get to go behind the scenes at Coleman Coliseum, see this facility, and then really get to know these coaches? How important was that?
It was very important because, the culture, the environment, it's almost more important than actual basketball because if your culture's right, your environments, and the character of the team, the basketball will take care of itself. So that was pretty important for me.
Did that make it an easy decision to sign?
Oh yeah. The work they put in, how passionate they were, the attention to detail, like that was very attractive. So I knew they was my type of guys I want to play for and be around.
And you had to deal with injury over the summer and going into the fall, and it delayed your start this season. What can you tell us, first of all, about Clark Holter and the whole staff that he has to get you back on the floor?
See, that's who doesn't get enough credit. I know I don't like people don't say his name like behind the scenes, but Clark Holter, man, he's probably one of the best at it, like the best of the best, 101 to do what he do. Because the surgery I had no business even coming back this season. But he's like the dude that did my surgery, Dr. Waldrop, he said 12 weeks. 12 weeks, and maybe like most people, this surgery put most people out their season. But hey, I think this dude can do it 12 weeks. So I was like, hey man, let's do it. And then so me and Clark was in the training room probably from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. probably every day for three months straight. It was fun. Something you had a lot of dark days, but it was worth it.
Do you respect the fact too that he didn't rush you back? I mean, even as much as the coaches wanted you on that floor immediately, he didn't. He made sure you didn't step on the floor until you were ready.
Yeah, it was really kind of holding me back too, because I don't think you understand. Like the way I'm set up here, man. Oh, I think I'm Superman. So yeah, it was. He really taught me a lot about myself. Not even the injury. He really I started reading books. He started suggesting books for me, and that really helped me a lot. And it just helped me just switch my perspective coming back from the injury and then get prepared, to lead his team to championship.
And this fall, we did see some adversity as well with Coach Amir passing away. How much did that affect you and seeing what he and his family went through the last few months?
Oh, man, that's even harder to put into words how that affected me. Yeah, Coach, he was different. Like, part of the reason I am the way don't get me wrong, I had a great dad. I've been very fortunate enough to have great leaders in my life, like my dad, my AAU coach, my high school coach, but Coach Amir, man, he taught me something like beneath surface level, like why you do this, like your character. It would be here all day if I had to talk about everything he taught me.
You think about him almost every game?
Oh yeah, every game, every day, because like when somebody teaches you so much, Like, I literally have like, even when I'm responding now, like, he taught me a little bit how to respond. When he teach you, like, he in all aspects of my life. It's crazy.
Oh, that's really good. So again, a great role model that you'll have memories of the rest of your life. You get plugged into this coaching staff. Who have you really liked on this staff? Who's been impactful in your either development or just you love playing for?
I mean, obviously Oates because he's so competitive. He's probably the first person ever like in my life I've met that actually like match my competitiveness. Because people always call me crazy, but now Oates, he's different, man. I'd be like, wow, like this, do I be looking like this? I'm like, there's no way. But um, Oates, it's been pretty fun playing for him. Just really all the coaches like Preston, just pretty fun. Just learning a new coaching staff and seeing how they go about things, and just know they work very hard for what they do.
What is it about this system that allows, even though we've seen players change constantly the last few years, the results are pretty similar?
Uh, if you put in the work and you're a good shooter and you're competitive and you play hard, this system is pretty much meant for you. Like you don't really have to be a sniper, a knockdown shooter. Just if you play hard, like this coaching staff will find a way to fit you into the system. And you just gotta take your time and let the game come to you because we get up so many shots and so many possessions. You should nobody should be forcing a shot because we have so many opportunities for everybody to get a shot. Like we scored 103 points yesterday. I think I only scored like 5 points. Hey, that's perfect. Like that just shows you what type of team and system we have, and that's what makes us so hard to stop.
And there are different players that step up different nights. Against Texas, it happened to be Jaron, who had
Yeah.
22.
Crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like it's gonna be hard to beat us this year, man. As long as we keep on playing unselfish and not care who gets the credit.
And then there is a lot of care on the defensive end of the floor. Is this the most you've worked on defense, you feel like?
Last year I think I took a big step defense at South Florida, but this year I was very intense, especially once I got back healthy. Like I couldn't. I knew as soon as I got back on the court, like my legs wasn't ready, my ankle. Like I had to give it some time, but now I'm ready to take the the road to. That's the
Well, a great matchup's coming up on Saturday here in Tuscaloosa. Alabama against Auburn, both ranked number one in different polls. Just how excited are you for this in-state matchup? You're an in-state kid from Alabama. How meaningful is this game coming up?
It's pretty cool. I will say that. Like it's at the end of the day, it's a regular season game. Then again, rivalry is a rivalry. So like I'm not trying to downplay it. So because the emotion is gonna be very high. So I'm pretty excited. I know it's my first Auburn, Alabama game I've been to. I know it's gonna be crazy in there. You got college game day coming, so it's gonna be a fun game.
We're looking forward to that. Some great rivalry matchups against Tennessee. Auburn also coming up later on the year on the road. And then for you, just what do you hope the next step is for you after this season?
Oh, we're going for the NBA for sure. Yeah, NBA. Get drafted. Continue my basketball career.
And we've heard maybe you could be a coach down the road. Is that something you do think about? Oates has brought that up.
Ellis has said that so many times to me. Yeah, I mean, right now, like it's gonna be hard because I feel like I don't have enough patience for these for kids. I really don't have enough patience for it. But I'm pretty sure down the line, like if that's my calling, I would know. I'll take care of it. It's crazy because like Coach Amir, I remember it was about like 3 years ago. We worked this summer camp, and everybody had their own little team. And I literally quit on my angle. I quit on my team because like they just wasn't going hard. They wasn't playing hard. They just wasn't listening. So I was like, I can't die. Now I don't see how y'all do this. I can never be a coach. And then a few years later, like I probably developed some patience. My perspective shifted a little bit, and I feel like I definitely would be a pretty decent coach. But all because of him. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like everything he's taught me, like I was a sponge just soaking it in for 4 years straight. So I have just infinite knowledge and wisdom.
How old were those kids that frustrated you so much?
This is the part that made me sound bad. It's probably like 7, 8 years old.
Just weren't setting screens, just weren't switching. I mean,
And that shows you like the patience I had at the time. Like, and my coach is like, see why? Like they're 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, what do you expect them to do? I said, I know. It's just like I feel like when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, I was going hard. I'm diving on the floor. Like I'm giving you all I got. And like, see why? Everybody's different. So it was funny.
I think you got some Coach Saban in you too.
It's funny because like as I grow up, I'm a big observer. I just soak a lot of information in. So I watch podcasts, interviews, just learning different things from different coaches, and I feel like that's probably why I am the way I am right now. 'Cause I was just a sponge.
Well, for this Alabama team, what's it going to take the next few weeks to chase down all the lofty goals that you guys have internally, the fan base has externally? What's going to be most important for this team to focus on?
I feel like for us it's pretty simple because it'll never be a talent thing. Like we're obviously like it'll never be because we're not good enough. It's probably like us just getting ahead of ourselves and getting into a feeling ourselves is too much. Like we're pretty good. Like we've done a pretty good job this season, but we haven't done anything we accomplished to do. Like we still have a national championship to win, so the job's not finished. And make sure we keep that edge. Although I think in this conference it's pretty easy to keep your edge because every team is good, so you can get beat like any night. Really for the rest of the year, for the rest of our games, like from here to conference tournament and then March Madness, like there's no really reason to come out not ready to play, or even in practice, like there's no really reason not to take advantage of each practice because hey man, like we're striving for something bigger than what we're doing. So to me, I feel like it's pretty simple. Just staying focused where we are, being present in the moment. Yeah, it's a pretty simple concept. As long as we keep doing what we're doing, don't take steps back, everything should take care of itself.
I look forward to seeing it. Well, Chris Youngblood, thank you for the time you've given us this week as Alabama gets ready for Auburn. Best of luck, not only on Saturday, but the rest of the way. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Appreciate you, man.
Experience racing like never before. From the sandy beaches of Daytona to the high banks of one of the most exciting super speedways on the NASCAR circuit. Don't miss out as NASCAR kicks off the 2025 season with the Daytona 500 on February 16th, 2025. Witness history in the making and purchase your tickets today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Fun conversation with Chris Youngblood. Of course, he's knocking down a lot of three-pointers for the Crimson Tide men's basketball team and saying the same for the women's basketball team. And then in terms of being the best in the SEC, there's one name, Aaliyah Nye, best three-point shooter in the SEC, really back-to-back seasons, and she has developed into a wonderful all-around player for Christy Curry and the women's basketball team. We've had her a lot on this show the last few years, kind of detailing her entire journey from playing, of course, at Illinois, transferring to Alabama. But on this conversation, we really just wanted to focus on this season and what's making it a special senior campaign for, again, the best three-point shooter in SEC women's basketball, Aaliyah Nye. Welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We're live at Saban Field inside the Advantage Center at our podcast studio. Roger Hoover now pleased to be joined by Aaliyah Nye from Alabama women's basketball. And Aaliyah, here we are. It's February. We're talking about the second half of SEC play. How have you enjoyed this season for you and the Crimson Tide?
It's been really fun. I enjoy this team that we have. I enjoy the coaches that we have this season. And I think it's just been a fun season. I love to win, and we're winning. So I just enjoyed every part of this season with this team.
It's been a lot of fun to watch, and of course for you and the Crimson Tide, a lot of success last season, making it to the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. How meaningful was it to beat Florida State, have the opportunity to play Texas, get to that round of 32?
It was fun. I've never been to the NCAA tournament until I got here, so I just enjoyed the opportunity to get to play there and to just. I know we lost my first time going there the first game, so it was a good experience to win the first game and then a good experience to get the second game, and hopefully we can win more this year.
Absolutely. That's been a motivating factor. And for you in the offseason, what was really important to work on your game to make sure you're ready to lead this team the right way?
Obviously, I want to expand my game more just in case people take away my three-point shot. So I worked on a lot of dribbling, pull-ups, and just my mentality, just staying focused and just getting in the gym as much as I can and working with my teammates. We had a lot of new faces, so just trying to get them acclimated to playing Alabama basketball.
How much pride do you take in your defense?
I actually love defense. I feel like people don't really know that. I like to play defense. I like to get stops, and that's something that I take pride in. I don't want anyone to score on me. So I really enjoy defense, and I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I do like to play defense for sure.
Well, because you do a really good job getting a lot of steals. We see that with Sarah Ashley, with Carly especially as well. Getting some quick steals near the top of the key or the wings, and that's creating so many offensive chances. Do you like playing transition up and down basketball?
Yes, that's what we want to do. We want to get out in transition and not play against a set defense. So when we can get steals and deflections, that's definitely a plus for us.
Well, of course, you're back this season for the Crimson Tide. We can say the same about Essence Cody, Sarah Ashley Barker, Carly Weathers. But the one new starter that comes in is Zay Green, the point guard. How have you seen her work her way into this team, and how she led from a point guard's perspective?
She's done a great job, obviously coming in to a new system such as ours. And playing a point guard at that, it's hard just to be a point guard for 1 year and learning all the plays. And I think she's done an amazing job. She's an amazing leader. I mean, I commend her because I can never be a point guard, but she has come in and really played her role, and she's done a great job for us. And she's just an amazing person at that too.
Yeah, she comes in along with Diana Collins, who I think has been really important, not only giving her some depth and an opportunity to rest a little bit on the bench, but the two of them together, what do you see when they play together?
When we played it, I mean, when Zay can play off the ball and on the ball, it's great. So I think it's amazing that we have Diana that can come in and play point guard as well, because when we can get Zay off the ball, she's a bigger guard. We can post her up and we can have Diana handle the ball. So I think it's just a plus when they're both playing together. And we saw that a lot more when Estee was out during this season. I think it was just a great advantage for us.
We've talked before about some of your family ties to Alabama, and now Huntsville really is the home for your family.
Yeah.
Early in the season, how meaningful was it to play at Alabama A&M? And I mean, it looked like the Aaliyah Nice section behind the Crimson Tide bench.
Yeah, I mean, that's a part of why I came to Alabama, because my family, they're from Huntsville. My mom's whole side of the family's up there, and that's where she grew up, and that's where I say I grew up. I went to high school in Michigan, I know, but yeah, it was just cool to play in front of my family. There was a lot of people there, family, friends, cousins, everything. They were just all in the stands. I think that was just a cool experience that they got to watch me play. And then a lot of them also get to come down to Tuscaloosa because it's not that far. And I just, I appreciate my family so much. They do a lot for me and they support me. So I just love them.
That's really good. And for you, you've had some great performances this year. Let's go to when Alabama faced some adversity early in SEC play. Sarah Ashley Barker goes down with injury. What was the mindset for your group once she was out and you had to kind of pick up the slack, scoring-wise, defensive-wise as well?
When she was out, I still was confident in my team. I think obviously it was hard at first to try to get acclimated to having Diana and Zay in, and they can both run point, but I feel like we did a great job just sharing the ball. A lot of people contributed because we know we had to pick up a lot of slack because SA does a lot for us scoring-wise, defensively. But I think just we were able to practice and just get acclimated to each other, and I think we did a great job when she was out. We moved the ball. Everyone got an opportunity to just learn from that and just play together because, I mean, things happen. So I think we did a great job when she got out. I think we just moved the ball more. We played defensively. We were definitely more connected because we knew there was a focus there that had to be done because we did lose a great player.
And it seemed like you played with a lot of freedom, especially that Ole Miss game. What do you look back on that performance and you're most proud of?
I mean, I don't know.
Because I believe you had a career high in that game.
Yeah,
points.
yeah. I think it was just being aggressive and knowing that we didn't have SA. I think me and Zay had a really good game. Carly had a really good game. I think all around everyone had a great game. I think me and Zay knew that obviously with SA out, we had to pick up the slack, and I think we focused being aggressive on offense. So I think that helped with us.
And do you enjoy, too, when you're able to score inside? Because you know that the top line of every scouting report about you says, three-point shooter, guard hard from three, but you got to love getting the basket and scoring even some mid-range baskets.
Yeah, I like my little turnaround jumper, getting to the basket. It's something I want to do more of, but obviously if I have the three, I'm going to take it. But, yeah, I love getting out and just driving to the basket and just getting whatever shot, honestly, that I can get. I feel like I do really well just finding my shots sometimes. So.
Well, against Florida last week, so much work outside the arc, 27 points, a school record, 9 3-pointers. Just when you get in a groove like that, when the threes are going in, how does it feel?
It feels great. I felt like I was feeling it the whole game throughout the whole 40 minutes. So I think they were just going down and I was in a groove and my teammates were finding me the ball. So I just appreciate them for that. And then obviously the coach is putting me in those positions to get the ball when I need it.
Can you sometimes tell a performance like that's coming, whether in practice or some shooting on your own, or is it still just going back to the same routine you always have?
I just go to the same routine I always have. I try not to think in warm-ups like if I'm missing shots or something, but I don't know. I wasn't feeling like I was going to have a game. I think I just go out there and I try to do my best and hopefully I make the shots, I guess. But I start feeling it when I get like 3 or 4 threes in. I'm like, okay, this is the game right here. But no, not during or before. Like before the game, no, I don't know that I'm gonna have a great game like that. So yeah.
Well, that was a good performance. You backed it up this past Sunday with a great game against Mississippi State. What do you feel like's made this team so good on the road or even neutral courts like we saw in the preseason tournaments? What's made this team really good away from home?
I would say just more focused. Obviously, we know we're going to be in a crowd where they're going for the other team, so we just have to bring our own energy, our own focus and discipline. So I think that's what helped us. We're more focused when we're away, and we're more encouraging. We have more energy, and I think we should do the same at home. I think we have done good at home as well, but yeah, I think it's just a level of focus on the road.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that. And so we have some home games coming up, a little bit of time on the road as well. Just what do you hope this group is capable of over the next few weeks? So how can Alabama maximize this opportunity?
I think just taking one day at a time, one game at a time, focusing on the next opponent. You know, we have Texas A&M coming up. So I think just focusing on one opponent at a time and just really dialing in on the scout and what we're supposed to do. And I think we'll get to the places that we want to go.
Basketball is really being talked about right now in Tuscaloosa, not only with the women's team doing well, top 25 all season long, but the men's team as well with their success. They got a huge game against Auburn coming up on Saturday.
Yeah.
How much do you guys enjoy on the women's team, keeping up with the men's team, getting to know some of their players?
I think it's pretty cool. They've done like a great job, and I'm actually excited for the Auburn game. I hope we win. I think it's pretty cool. The state of Alabama has actually gone up with Auburn being number 1 and then us being number 2. But I think it's just cool to see them and their style of play and how it kind of is similar to ours as well. You know, they like to shoot the 3. We like to shoot the 3. I think it's just cool just being able to support them and they support us.
Do you feel like you'd be pretty good in Nate Oates' offense?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would get a lot of 3s. They love the 3 ball over there, so yeah.
They certainly do. Does practice work out on Saturday where you can go to College game day or to the game later on?
I think we have practice in the morning, but I'll definitely try to go to the game. But we do have practice in the morning, so I don't know if College game day is in the works, but yeah.
It's just a TV show.
Yeah.
The game's more important.
Yeah.
So for you, again, this is what's your last season here at Alabama? Made that decision to come back last year. Have you given much thought to what's around the corner after the NCAA tournament's done?
I do think about it, but I try not to think about it. I just want to stay focused and be where my feet are. That's what Coach Christie says a lot, like be where your feet are. So I'm just trying to be where my feet are right now and just finish the season out strong and just get wins for this team.
During your time here, what's been the focus in the classroom? What would be a career maybe after basketball for you?
So outside of basketball, I'm getting my MBA, so my Master's in Business Administration, and that's a 2-year program. So this is the first year of it, and after basketball, I would like to still be around sports, maybe like sports marketing. I got my undergrad in marketing, so either like a sports agency, sports marketing, or just in some type of sports environment because I think I just enjoy watching sports, playing sports, and getting to know people.
How tough has it been to be in an NBA program and balance basketball at the same time?
It's hard. I just had a group meeting last night, and I had 3 classes, then I had to go to practice, then I had lift, and then I rushed over. I had to get ready for my group meeting because we were recording something yesterday, and I was just like, oh my gosh, these days are just so long, but I really enjoy it. Like it's fun, and I like my cohort group that I'm with. So I mean, it's hard, but I just try to find the joy in it.
Oh, that's really good. Well, Alabama fans have certainly loved watching you play. I'll let you go on this. Just how much have you enjoyed getting to be a student athlete here and play for our fans here in Tuscaloosa?
Alabama is amazing. Like, I love Tuscaloosa so much. I think the fans here are great. The sports environment here is great. Like, we have gymnastics ranked. We have softball ranked. We have men's basketball ranked. Like, this is just a great sports environment in Tuscaloosa, and I just enjoy going to the different games. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy people outside in the classroom as well. There's just amazing people here, and I just love Tuscaloosa.
Well, Aaliyah and I, they've loved watching you play. Just thank you for all the time you've given us today on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Best of luck the rest of the way. Roll Tide.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
Greetings from Daytona. where year after year, greatness is the destination. So book your experience and soak in 500 miles of history and tradition. Secure your seats now at Daytona500.com.
Fun conversation with Aaliyah Nye. We look forward to her and the Crimson Tide returning to the hardwood at Coleman Coliseum coming up, remember, on Monday against Texas A&M at 7 p.m. Coming up tomorrow, baseball is back here at the Capstone. Alabama baseball will start its season with the 3-game series against the Bradley Braves, and we had a really baseball-themed show earlier this week on Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance at Baumhower's Victory Grill. If you want to watch the replay, you can hear our conversation with Will Hodo as well as Riley Quick talking about this season coming up from the player's perspective, but we wanted to give you some of the best of from head coach Rob Vaughn, as he does a great job breaking down the roster, telling you a lot of new names you need to keep in mind as you watch the Crimson Tide coming up this weekend. Here's our conversation with Rob Vaughn from Hey Coach.
And welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. We continue with you live inside Baumhower's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. This is Roger Hoover. Now please be joined by the head coach of the Crimson Tide baseball team, Rob Vaughn. Coach, roll Tide.
Yeah, roll Tide. Happy to be here.
It's opening week. The Crimson Tide have been working out the last few weeks here in the winter, getting ready for what starts on Valentine's Day. Just how excited are you that this week is finally here?
Well, you call it the winter, man. It was 80 degrees a couple of days ago. This is why we came to Alabama. No, it's been a good couple weeks of work, and it's crazy how fast it moves. I feel like these kids just got here in August, and we turn around here in about 4 days and line up against somebody else and go to work. So, like our guy said, ton of hard work's gone into it, but the boys are ready. We're healthy. Guys feel good, and now it's time to go strap it up against somebody else.
Of course, last year around this time we talked about as well what was getting ready for a bit of an unknown for you. Your first year here at Alabama competing in the SEC. Just between now and then, what'd you learn about what it's like to coach at this program specifically?
Yeah, I think you just have a better idea of what you're walking into. You know, I think last year I'd played SEC teams throughout my career, but nothing quite prepares you for the 10 straight weeks, day in and day out grind of the SEC. And I think our guy said a minute ago, this league's how can you take a punch? Man, you're going to get knocked down. Can you get yourself back up? How quick can you get yourself back up? And that's what the name of the game is. So you feel a lot more prepared year two. I feel like doesn't mean you're better, doesn't mean you're worse, but you feel like you know what you're looking for. I know where I feel like we're ready right now. I feel like I know where I think we need to continue to grow and make some strides, and these boys are working their tails off every day to do it.
How'd that knowledge really help you build this roster? Because baseball now, year to year, the roster is changing a lot in college baseball.
Yeah, man, it's college athletics in general is just in a different spot than it was 5 years ago, and I think you have one or two options. You either sit here and feel bad for yourself and reminisce about the good old days, or you adapt, learn, and grow and figure out what's next, and that's what we've tried to do. So, you know, I think what we really try to do, I really love coaching kids with an edge. That's something that I've always loved doing. When I spent that time at Maryland, we went up to New York City a lot, went to Philadelphia a lot, we went to Baltimore a lot. I wanted some kids that just had some toughness and an edge to them. And so we went and recruited that. We recruited some guys that we felt like had a little bit of that. I love coaching kids that somewhere at some point in their career were told they're not good enough. And you know, that's why we love some of these JUCO kids. We love guys that have had to kind of go through that grind and that failure and that struggle, because there's no entitlement. They're super grateful to be at a place like this, super grateful to be in a town like this, at a university like this, and that's what we really tried to do, is really recruit the identity, the makeup of this team, knowing that we can help navigate some of the other stuff. And I think, you know, between JJ, Pap, and Mo, they did an unbelievable job doing that. We got a lot of awesome kids that get after it, but, man, those dudes like to compete, and they've got an edge on the field.
Did you see the edge like you wanted it in fall baseball? Because that's all about competition.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, shoot, I think that's what you always look for. You know, there's so many guys that treat, especially preseason, as we're going through the motions. You know, we're going to get our at-bats, we're going to throw our pitches, we're going to do this. Man, at the end of the day, like, this is a training arena. You know, we need to get in here and compete. We need to get in here and get after it. And shoot, we had two guys getting after each other in the 10th inning of a scrimmage yesterday. Like, that's not normal, and that's awesome. Like, that's what this team needs. That's what I want this team to feel, and I don't want them to be afraid to to play with an edge. We're not going to cross the line, but we're going to walk right up to that line because that's what the best do.
As we continue our conversation with Coach Vaughn, but first of all, Coach, wanted to start to break down the roster a little bit, and we'll kind of go around the diamond, starting with your catcher position.
Yeah, I mean, we've got two good ones back there. You got Brady Neal, who's a transfer, came over from LSU. So he's going to be the guy that's going to run out there on Friday night, but it's going to be really both dudes. Will Plattner will be right behind him. And it's going to be kind of committee. It's a great situation to have. You got one left-handed hitter, one right-handed hitter. Both have the ability to play multiple positions and do some different things offensively. So we feel really good there. A little bit thinner than maybe I'd want. We lost Luke Vaughn into the fall to an injury, so we'll be without him this year. So down to two, but those are two tough ones, and we're excited to roll with them.
So they lead the infield. Let's go around the horn to first base, first of all.
Yeah, I think this is where the strength of this team a little bit. There's a lot of moving pieces. Obviously, Hodo played first for us every day last year. Doe's going to be right in the middle of the lineup for us. I think he's going to hit the 3-hole. Does he play first? Does he DH? Does he play some corner outfield? I think he has the ability to do some different things. So, Friday night, I think you'll see him either at first or the DH spot. I think the other guy over there is Jason Torres. Our transfer from Miami. He was coming off an injury this past fall, but is back healthy and he's been an animal this spring. It's been awesome. His preseason has been dynamite. He's going to hit in the 4-hole for us. It's a physical right-handed bat. Bat to ball is really good. Play discipline's elite. But same thing. He has the ability to slide over and play third base as well. So I think you'll see, mainly Doe and Torres over at first. And then we have a couple young pups that we've been getting some reps over there. Garrett Staten in a pinch has the ability to slide over there. So a lot of our infield, save kind of our superstar stand over at short's got a lot of jack of all trades to him, which is huge.
Yeah, let's go to him next. Justin LeBron, tremendous freshman campaign. How much is that going to help him as he continues to develop and grow into one of the best players in the SEC?
Yeah, Justin's one of the best players in the country. There's no question. I think the big thing you want to see is, how do they respond to success? And Justin's hit every mark along this way. He's been great this fall. He's grown a lot in some of his leadership, really taken our young freshman, John Young Jr., under his wing a little bit and has really helped John grow into the player he's becoming. So we're seeing some of that, and now the test comes. Now the season starts. Justin we were very fortunate that guy didn't really have that 0 for 20 in the middle of the year last year. It felt like every game he was good. But chances are in this game, you play it long enough, you're going to have it. So how does he continue being this maturely? I have zero doubt about the way he'll handle it, but we're fortunate one stands out at short for us.
Yeah, he certainly does. And then how about some of the options at second and third? We know that can be kind of interchangeable based on the matchup, right?
Yeah, I think Brennan Norton's probably going to get the run out there on Friday. Just a fire hydrant, physical, electric bat speed. He hits balls as hard as any kid I've been around. And man, his demeanor is awesome. It's an edge like we talked about, but he also doesn't grip it too tight. I think his perspective, it sounds corny, but his perspective on life is just really mature. He's like telling me the other day, like, man, it don't matter. We're just a speck of dust. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But let's go hammer some baseballs today. But Brennan's been great. Played a lot of third at Jack State. We've transitioned him to second. He's done a great job there for us. Garrett Staten, kind of same thing over at third base. Played some second base early in his career at Sanford. I think we'll probably start over at third, but has the ability to slide over to second and be very good there as well. So those two kind of interchangeable there with the addition of a guy like John Young in there, our young freshman that, man, I don't know what his role is going to be yet this year, but I'm going to be shocked if that guy is not involved in some way, shape, or form as this year continues to go on. And really, really fired up for him. But those are kind of some of the guys in the mix. JoJo Williamson, young kid from Hartselle. JoJo's had a great preseason and swung the bat well and could get some nods over second base as well.
And then how about in the outfield? Once again, you have a lot of good options out there.
Yeah, one thing we really wanted to do is just be more athletic in the outfield. We had McCants last year who did a great job in center for us. We had Ian who really hit. And then we had just a very steady guy in Evan slide over and right. But I never felt like part of being really good defenders is not just making the routine play. It's actually taking runs off the board with your defense. And I don't know how much we did that last year, just in a lot of places. But we really wanted to upgrade that in the outfield. And I think we've done a great job. I think Richie Bonamalo is going to round out in center as a JUCO transfer from Wabash, can really, really go get the baseball. Right field's going to be Bryce Fowler, another JUCO transfer, was committed to go over to Campbell and play, and they had a coaching change. And we ended up scooping him up, and he brings it all to it. He's going to lead off for us. It's left-handed, it's tough, it's all of those things. So you have those guys, then our captain Cade Snell standing out in the left. So I think there's a little bit more dynamic playmaking in the outfield. Not that we were bad in the outfield, but I think this group has a chance to take a few more runs off the board out there, which is going to be huge in this league.
You mentioned Cade Snell as the captain of this team. He's going to wear the jersey number 3. What makes him the perfect man to be the captain for this year's team?
Just a lot. I mean, I think one thing that I think is unique is his perspective of the guy pitched for us last year too. You know, he's a position player only this year, but he's been on the mound in an SEC game as an arm. He's been in the box in an SEC game as a hitter, and I think there's an interesting perspective that comes from that. But being the captain ain't easy. You know, I think everybody loves the idea of wearing 3, and it's cool and it feels cool, but man, leadership can be tough, you know, and it can be lonely, and it can be, especially when maybe you're not performing at your best all the time, it can be really tough to feel like you can hold guys accountable. And we felt like Cade had the maturity to handle that. You know, you talk about toughness too, man. Like, I remember last year we're at the Tallahassee Regional, and Cade's back was a disaster last year late in the year. He had hurt it, and he was kind of grinding through it. And I watched him lean over to pick a bat up at home plate. And he had to squat down with his legs because he literally couldn't bend over and pick it up. His back hurt so bad. And about 3 pitches later, he hit a homer to right. Like, that's Cade Snell. Man, he's tough. He's real. He's authentic. I think he's got a great perspective. And just felt like those boys would follow him, and he's done a great job so far.
Coach, we've talked plenty about the hitters, and you were just telling me in the commercial break the pitchers have been doing really well all throughout, even going back to the fall and what we've seen the last few weeks.
Yeah, and I looked up the other day. I'm like, we either really stink offensively or we got some dudes on the mound, and man, it's JJ's done such a great job. Him and Mo kind of both work with those arms, and not only recruiting the right guys, but I think we have some different looks. You know, we've got the low slot left, low slot right. You got, you know, some guys that have developed some secondary stuff that can be a weapon a little bit that's maybe a little different than what they've had in the past. And, man, there's a lot of looks. There's a lot of velo. I mean, shoot, Q's 11 and a half months out of TJ, and his average fastball's touching 99 right now. So there's some stuff. So it's a fun group to get to work with.
Have really starters started to identify themselves at this point of the year, or are you still kind of evaluating everything before you make any determinations, not just for this weekend or midweek starters, but who some of those options to start games will be?
Yeah, you know, the good thing is I think our guys have made it tough on us. You know, there's a handful of guys, very honestly, that, you know, we didn't know kind of if they would be on the roster or not, that have turned themselves not only into making the roster, but into bona fide guys, you know, so that's a great problem to have. You know, the one thing I think we feel very confident, Zane Adams is going to go out on Friday. Q will go out, Quick will go out on Saturday, so we'll start those two Friday, Saturday. Still talking about Sunday, I think there's a couple guys in the mix. Bobby Alcock has been unbelievable in the preseason. Just a cool story, man, a guy that had an injury last year, missed basically the whole year, and you know, we didn't know what was going to be coming back. I mean, he had a shoulder issue, and a lot of guys don't come back from that. Not only did he come back, but he's come back and worked himself into a potential starter for us. You know, Riley talked about him earlier, JT Blackwood, another JUCO kid that it's pitchability, it's stuff. It's 92, 93 with a really good cutter, feel for a changeup, plus fastball command. So those guys are in there. Tyler Fay, a familiar name from around here, has continued to grow and get better. Bo Bryan's a left-handed option that's just power stuff. I mean, it'll run up to 96 from a low slot from the left side. So we have some options for that third spot and the midweek spot. And shoot, some of these midweek teams we play these first few weeks, I mean, you can argue might be better than some of the weekend guys. So just kind of be strategic about how we do that. So we know we're going to go Zane Friday, Q Saturday, and then we'll kind of play it by ear from there. Probably decide here in the next day or so.
And then in the bullpen, who could we see maybe in late-game situations? We hope there's some high-scoring games. It's not too close coming up this weekend against Bradley, but game on the line. Who are you trusting right now?
I mean, right now, I think our closers, Carson Osmer, transfer from Penn. Man, he's everything you want. And just a human being on your team because he's a great kid. Turned down money in the draft to come to school here. Had got drafted or would have gotten drafted and signed and said, no, I'm going to Alabama. And he's it's maturity, it's poise, I mean, it'll be low 90s from the left or from the low slot right side. Can run it up to the mid 90s over the top. So he's probably the guy at the end of the game that we're flipping the ball to go get the last 3 outs. But, man, a guy like Braylon Myers is really taking a step. Braylon had an unbelievable year last year. I mean, numbers were elite, pitched at 2. guys that know Braylon, he's the best of the best. Like, unbelievable kid. And he's really started to see some stuff tick up. I mean, it was 88 to 90 most of the time last year, maybe touching 91. He's been sitting 92, 93 up to 94. So, you take his command and the stuff ticks up, man, that's a leverage type guy. Same thing with Colson Buchanan. Pitched for us last year, but was kind of lost in his identity. Threw a lot of cutters, a lot of changeups, and realistically, the breaking ball was his best pitch, and kind of got back to throwing that thing, and it's a weapon for him out of the pen now. So those are some guys. Austin Morris, same thing last year. Some guys that you could see in those high leverage situations, and I would love for none of them to be high leverage early on, but you and I both know we're going to be in the tight one here in the 7th at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't let you go without asking about base running. Riley Quick brought that up.
Yeah, Riley's going to be in trouble tomorrow.
Kangaroo court coming.
No, we try to set the record on Saturday during fan day, mind you. We try to set the record for how many times we could get picked off base. We had a guy get picked off second. We had 3 consecutive guys get picked off by the same guy at first base, which I'd never quite seen that before. So the post-game meeting with me that day was not very good for our base runners. So we will get that fixed, Riley. Don't you worry.
We got to steal some bases this year?
We're going to run a little bit more this year. And I think that's personnel. We just didn't have the personnel to do that last year. I think your offense just kind of really blends with your personnel. Last year, Gage Miller couldn't run, but that guy could hit it a country mile, so we let him go line up and hit. Whereas this year, I think you have the ability to do that. I think Richie Bonamalo, Justin LeBron, Hodo can really run. Garrett Staten, Bryce Fowler. I think you start looking at 5 of the 9 guys in that lineup should be able to create and do some things. Brady Neal's one of the most athletic catchers in the country. So I think we should have the ability to create chaos, and that's what we want. I want to be able to beat you in different ways. I want to line up and slug when we need to, and I want to create when we need to, and I think this team is built to do both.
Coach, can't wait for what's coming up. Opening day on Friday at the Joe. Games on Saturday, Sunday as well against Bradley. Some midweeks next week. Just thank you for the time you've given us. Looking forward to the ride that we're going to go on this season. But thank you for your time. Roll Tide.
Heck yeah, Roll Tide.
That's the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Rob Vaughn. Opening day coming up on Friday. You're listening to Hey Coach. It's presented by Alpha Insurance, Auto, Home, Life, and Business. Alpha Insurance covers it all. AlphaInsurance.com.
Hey, it's Aaliyah Nye. This is Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
Don't miss out on your chance to experience the energy and the excitement of the Great American Race. Witness history in the making and purchase your tickets today for the 2025 Daytona 500 at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Coach Vaughn and the Crimson Tide ready to go for the start of the season as we take a look at our upcoming schedule for this weekend. A busy weekend, as you can imagine, here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. It all begins on Friday, both here in Tuscaloosa with Alabama baseball against Bradley, headed your way at 4 o'clock across the network. And then, of course, we will have new episodes of Tide TV this week and the Nate Oates television show. Softball will be, of course, out in Clearwater. They will be taking on, first of all, San Diego State and then Liberty in a doubleheader at the Clearwater Invitational. Saturday, basketball takes center stage. The men's game against the Auburn Tigers. 2 o'clock will be the start time for our radio coverage with the tip-off at 3 across the network. Softball will continue play against Ohio State and UCLA in Clearwater. And then baseball, weather permitting, at 1 p.m. against Bradley. Again, the forecast doesn't look great at the moment for Saturday and Sunday, so we'll see if any changes happen. Make sure you follow us at UA_CTSN for the very latest. Again, weather permitting, Alabama is scheduled to close out play against Bradley on Sunday afternoon at the Joe, and then softball will wrap up play in Clearwater against Oklahoma State. Then on Monday, we will have Hey Coach at 6 p.m. from Baumhauer's in Tuscaloosa, and a women's basketball game at 7 against Texas A&M. One note, we will have the courtside cam driven by NASCAR for men's basketball on Saturday against Auburn, and on women's basketball coming up on Monday night. We will not have a video stream of Hey Coach coming up on Monday. We'll also have a booth cam as well for baseball on Friday on opening day with Kurt Bloom calling the game for us here on the network. So keep your eye out on that. Just follow us at UA_CTSN, not only for the different booth cams, courtside cams we have coming up over the weekend, but some interview clips, some highlights as well from what we hope is a very winning weekend of Alabama athletics, especially in basketball against Auburn and Texas A&M, in addition to everything going on with baseball and softball. Again, just follow us at UA_CTSN for the very latest. It's going to wrap up this busy edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guests, Chris Youngblood and Aaliyah Nye, who joined us in this studio, plus Rob Vaughn joining us at Baumhauer's for Hey Coach on Monday. Thanks to Ethan Carabin. He produced the interviews you saw, this entire show. We put it together. We appreciate Ethan and the hard work he has done, in addition to Lexi Graber in our NIL office, making sure we got all these interviews not only this week, but in the weeks to come here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. For everybody with Alabama Athletics, this is Roger Hoover saying thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you at some point this weekend, whether at the Joe, maybe Coleman Coliseum. Should be a fun time here in Tuscaloosa. Thanks again for spending part of your Thursday with us on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.